Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry about the delay. Today, we're going to be getting into the Titan Gate submarine story that's been circling around the internet, and we're going to be reacting to a few videos explaining a little bit more about what's been going on. Now, sit back and let's check out these videos.
This morning, an ROV, or remote operated vehicle, from the vessel Horizon Arctic discovered the tail cone of the Titan submersible approximately 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the seafloor. The ROV subsequently found additional debris. In consultation with experts from within the Unified Command, the debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber.
Now, from the stories, it's saying that the Titan has been imploded rather than them running out of oxygen, even though it is pretty close to the same way. Because when the last update came in, they only had about an hour and a half left of oxygen. Now, we're going to be getting into a story that's going to dive in a little bit more in details. I don't know if this is the original video or not, but it has some good information. So let's check.
All right, guys, here we go.
It was steered by a PlayStation controller, using components bought from Camping World, and there were questions about its safety rating.
Just seemed a bit shoddy. OceanGate shouldn't have been doing what it was doing.
This is really focused on one thing, and that's the pressure vessel, and making sure that component, which is clearly the most critical component of the sub, is safe.
But 5 Titanic tourists paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to descend 12,500 feet in the Titan submarine. Now the remains of the sub have been found, and questions are being asked by experts who raised safety concerns about the OceanGate vessel were apparently ignored. One of the engineers was fired after voicing his concerns. One man refused to ride the sub after seeing how it was built, and one man who actually did ride it described his voyage to a newspaper as suicide.
Now, first of all, why would you fire the safety experts? And second of all, why would you ignore the safety experts to begin with, the ones that are building your subs and inspecting it? Now, as far as the PlayStation controller, I'm all for the ease of use of the PlayStation controller. We do that with some of our drones, but do not ignore the safety concerns and the warnings of the people building your pressure valve and your submarine. If they're saying it's unsafe and it's basically suicidal, you should probably listen to them.
OceanGate, the company which owned the sub, said on its website that it was a mixture of bespoke engineering and off-the-shelf parts. They said,
So they basically MacGyvered it. Okay.
This made the sub easy to fix, but the decision to use these components has now been called into question. David Pogue, a reporter who took a ride on the sub last year, reported it used lighting and handles bought from Camping World, and rusted scaffolding was used as ballast.
You get there, and then you start seeing this stuff, and now your mood crashes, and you get a little worried. Like, is this the level of polish and sophistication we're talking about?
A previous passenger described how to release the ballast. Passengers all had to move to one side of the vessel. Mr. Pogue described the craft as jerry-rigged, MacGyvered, and said a lot of the parts were less sophisticated than he expected.
So it was MacGyvered.
Like the knockoff PlayStation controller used for steering. When Mr. Pogue challenged owner Stockton Rush over this, the OceanGate CEO is said to have hit back, saying the pressurized container where the passengers sit was state-of-the-art. Made of carbon fiber and titanium, he claimed that NASA, Boeing, and Washington University had assisted in the design.
So, okay. They said it was MacGyvered, but then again they said that NASA assisted in the design. So why did it fail? They failed because they cut corners to try to make it cheaper, even though they're basically everyone on board was rich. And the person that's owning Ocean Gate is a billionaire. Why would you need to cut corners and ignore safety concerns and MacGyver the whole sub if, I don't know. Let's just keep watching.
After Titan went missing while Mr. Pogue was taking his voyage. The sub stopped responding to its support ship, got lost, was unable to find the Titanic wreck, and then went missing for 5 hours afterwards. Mr. Pogue said that there was talk at the time of adding an emergency beacon to the sub, but it seems this didn't happen.
Why? Why did you not install an emergency beacon on the sub if your worst fear was getting lost? Why?
The sub is constantly plagued by mechanical problems, he added in TV interviews after the tragedy. OceanGate said the sub could not be classified because it used technology that was so new it fell outside existing industry paradigms. Getting certification for the sub, the company said, would be a multi-year process that was unnecessarily slow because of a lack of pre-existing standards.
Why is this a rush job? Why is this a rush job?
Titan was not his first sub made in this fashion, but it was the first designed to handle tourists. As well as exploring the Titanic, he planned to venture to thermal vents and undersea battlegrounds. Mr. Rush described the submarine industry as obscenely safe, saying,
Obscenely safe. Sure.
According to court documents, Mr. Lockridge had raised concerns over the integrity of the sub's hull, its viewing window, which was only certified to 4,000 feet, not the 13,000 feet it would be diving to, and flammable materials on board.
Now, that's another safety concern that they just completely glossed over. If it's only structured to go to a depth of 4,000 feet, why would you think that it would be able to withstand 13,000 if it's only designed to handle 4,000? That's just mathematically incorrect. Let's keep going.
Vehicles in the whole world that can go 4,000 meters or deeper, and all of them are certified except the Titan.
Chris Brown was one of OceanGate's early customers and bought a ticket for £80,000 after having a few beers with a friend who knew about it. But when Brown began asking questions, he quickly decided the voyage wasn't worth the risk.
Parts of the submarine that I'd seen in the testing in the Bahamas just seemed a bit shoddy. They're using industrial piping for ballast. They're using an Xbox controller for the steering. The strip lighting's something you get a DIY shop.
I said we have to go back because we got some problems like in the other dives with the battery systems.
Even Paul-Henri Nagolet, perhaps the world's most experienced Titanic explorer, had doubts. In an interview with media in his home country of France, he admitted that he did not trust the submersible's composite material design.
Right, everybody, that's it for today's video. Try to have a little bit more compassion for these guys. Whether they're rich or they're poor does not take away from the fact that these lives have been lost and that the family's loved ones is now gone forever. Because there's people on one side of the fence that are happy that they're dead because they're rich, and there's the other side that still have a little bit more empathy because these are still people and they are now deceased and they will no longer be with us. So, as always, give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.